Hi, and welcome to Two Ordinary Nerds, a podcast where two ordinary nerds talk about beers, movies, TV shows, and sometimes games, and sometimes comics. How you doing today, Daniel?
Doing good. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. Did you give me anything?
I did. It was a pizza.
Yeah, you did. And I bought beer. Speaking of beer,
we're trying to do that. We both taste the same beer, so we can at least discuss it a bit better. Our first beer is a Uinta. Hop. It's a hoppy beer.
It's an IPA.
It's an IPA. It's really hoppy.
It's really good.
It's from Salt Lake City, Utah, and it is pretty good. I enjoy it. It's one of those beers that I feel like I can only have a couple, just because it's so hoppy and it will make me full. And our second beer, what is it?
Second beer is from Sierra Nevada. It's called Sidecar, and it's an orange pale ale. It's similar to, from what I could taste, it tastes similar to Blue Moon, but it's more hot. It's still like a thick beer like Blue Moon kind of, but it's not. It's hoppier. It's pretty good. It's a different taste than Blue Moon, but yeah, I thoroughly enjoy it. Yeah,
the Uinta, I will give it 2.5, 3 beers. It's good. It's a good beer, but it hasn't sparked my attention too much. And the Sidecar, I will say a good 3.5.
I'd give 3.5 to the hoppy beer, and then I will give a 3 to the Sidecar. Sidecar's good, but it's just an average fruity beer. It's nothing fancy.
The problem with these type of beers is like they're good for if the intention is to have a couple. Mm-hmm. Like if I could not have six beers of this over a night, not because it'd be more because I would get tired of the flavor. It's such a particular flavor that it's for two it's great. For having 1 beer, 2 beers after work, it's exactly what you want. It has flavor, volume, and yeah, I'll give it that.
Yep.
So what do you think we're going to talk about today?
Well, I was thinking we're going to talk some comic books.
Well, really? Comic books? It's been a long time.
It has been a long time. So what comic books should we talk about?
Well, the Civil War II Complete Edition has just hit the market, and we were thinking of talking about Marvel Civil War versus Marvel Civil War II, and then maybe make a comparison against the Injustice comic books. That's the DC. It's a DC comic. So, are you Team Captain America or Team Iron Man?
Or are you Team Captain Marvel?
Good point. Let's see.
Join us. Sorry, I was trying to do some Avengers music and it just didn't work. But yeah, so well, let's just give some loosely based context. Civil War.
You explain the Civil War 1, I'll explain Civil War 2.
Sure. Civil War 1 is based off of it's the Mutant Act, correct? Because it's not the Sokovia Accords.
No,
in the movie it's the Sokovia Accords, but it's a different name in the comic. But it's the same. It's the same premise. The comic is based off of the Superhero Registration Act. So, in context, if you're a superhero, you have to register. And the reason why they came up with this is there is a TV show in the comic that follows villains, while these heroes in the show approach a villain that's a little too strong, and his power is an atomic bomb, and he blows up and he kills a school of children.
They don't follow the villains, they follow the heroes, and the heroes end up with...
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, I got that mixed up. But, yeah, they so basically they follow them, and there's a school that gets blown up. And in turn, they come up with this act where all these superheroes have to register, and so, the government and S.H.I.E.L.D. knows who all is superhero and who is not. Well, Captain America is on one side and doesn't think it's right to sign the Accords, and then Iron Man's on the other side where he thinks everyone should register.
Yeah, that's correct. And the main idea basically is should the superheroes be controlled by the government? And the idea is, if the government ask them to do something that they don't like, or it's unethical for them, that's the dilemma. Well, or should people like who have the ability to blow up cities, should the government know that they're able to blow up cities and have them make sure that they're safe and they don't blow up a city? So that's basically the dilemma. And the dilemma is, do you want to tell the world, and make anybody who's had a secret identity families endangered and tell them what to do, or do you rather have the possibility of another catastrophe like this? Because imagine a mutant has the power of the sun and can kill anybody instantly because they can't control that power. And Civil War 2 is basically Minority Report. There's this Inhuman that can see the future, and Iron Man is against using his power because he's not certain that his future visions are 100% correct, and if they aren't, you're basically arresting people for a crime that they haven't committed or they wouldn't be committed. And Captain Marvel is in the other side saying, we need to stop them because thanks to this, we stop Thanos and we stop other villains and other criminals of happening. And that's the main dilemma.
I really like, if we're going to jump into kind of comparing, my first and major comparison that I really like is, at this point in the Civil War II, what I like most about it is that the core members of the Avengers, the original Avengers, most of them stuck together minus Clint. But I really like how Captain America and Tony stuck together versus...
Oh, like in Civil War 2?
Yeah, versus in Civil War 1, they were at each other's throat. That's what caused the fighting. But this time, they were together.
Yeah, and this time, I've noticed where I guess I tend to side with Captain America in the first book. They seem to make him the good guy and Iron Man the bad guy. And in this one, they try to make Iron Man the good guy and Captain Marvel the bad guy. I'm going to have a hard time just going with Captain America and Captain Marvel.
Yep.
So if we make a slip up, I'm sorry.
Don't judge us.
But yeah, like what I liked of those two books is it's something new, something weird. It's you try to see both sides, although you can tell the bias of the writers. I love how they're integrating the new characters in Civil War 2. Like, Ultimate Spider-Man Miles Morales has a big point.
I actually have a question about that. See, this is where you come in hand, being our Spider-Man aficionado, because I'm reading this and I see one Spider-Man and then I see another Spider-Man. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, does Spider-Man change into this costume or is this one? And then you only see normal Spider-Man for a little bit and then he's gone. Yeah. But then you see what you say Ultimate Spider-Man is, you see him more. So let's talk about that a little bit. So basically, before this saga came, there was another one, it was called Civil War 2 or 3. Civil War, Secret Wars. And basically, what is happening is the multiverse was going to destroy itself. And basically, without going into much detail, all the superheroes of different universes had to stick together. Most of them died, but a few survived and managed to survive. So the three Spider-Man survived. The Spider-Gwen, Ultimate Spider-Man, who is Miles Morales, who's a teenage kid, and the regular Superman, Peter Parker's Spider-Man. So that's why there's more than one. And there's two Thors. There's female Thor, and then there is male Thor who doesn't have the hammer. So it's just Marvel trying to get the money-making comics still in place and destroying other universes, so it all more or less starts fitting into one single storyline until they get bored and probably do another storyline. But basically, it's another Spider-Man from another dimension that is now living in the same universe as the regular Spider-Man. Okay, so Ultimate Spider-Man is from another universe. Yeah, and it's another universe. Are they friends? Yeah, they get along. Spider-Man is more or less
started to become like a mentor, but then he realized that he's doing pretty good by himself, and
they seem like they have the same mentality, because in Civil War II, when he, breaks down about. So obviously, there's spoilers for the comics in this. We're going fully in depth with this comic, so
it's been out for like a year, so
yeah. So when the Inhuman sees the vision of Miles killing Captain America, I really thought it was powerful how they showed him breaking down, and Captain's like, "Son, why do you have your mask up? You need to hide your identity." And he's like, and then he's just breaking down. He's like, "They know I wouldn't do this to you, right? I would never hurt you, Captain."
Yeah, he's a good kid. He's a good hero. He deviates a little bit from Peter Parker, but he has a lot of Peter Parker in him, because from his universe that he came, Peter Parker died, and then he came back to life. But he basically died, and Norman Osborn recreated the spider that bit Peter Parker, and he managed to get bitten, and he became a hero. And he tried to imitate Spider-Man, and he had the whole support of all the Spider-Man's family. So he had the support of Aunt May, Gwen Stacy, Mary Jane. He had all the support. So when Spider-Man came back and he talked to him, there was more or less like a mentorship-ish, because he looked up to him, because Spider-Man is one of the greatest heroes. Mm-hmm. But when he killed Captain America, it was the same time that the comic line came out with Captain America being a Hydra agent.
Oh, okay.
So it was a good thing to, like, they showed out, and when they released it, people were like, "Oh my god," Does that mean that Miles will kill Captain America because Captain America was a Hydra agent? But it turns out in the comic that no, he does not kill, and it turns out that his visions are not 100% correct, like Tony said, and that.
I really like the message it has, because even though Captain Marvel can see what could happen, it really is you're basically playing God. You can't, just because it says one thing's going to happen, history hasn't happened yet.
So, yeah, but at the same time, if you don't go with it, that could cause the death of somebody.
It could. So, but in turn, with her bad decision making, she cost the lives of other people.
But at the same
time, she killed Bruce Banner
they killed Bruce Banner. So I was before we go jump in, what do you? Sides versus sides, what do you thought had the Civil War 1 had a better division of power, or the Civil War 2 had a better division of power?
Civil War 1 had a better division of power, because in Civil War 1 I feel like they had, I really like how it split the Fantastic Four apart, and how
it was a true Civil War.
It split families apart, which is what Civil War, what happens. I really thought that was powerful. In this one, it kind of did that, but
But there wasn't a team that was sort of like the Guardians of the Galaxy didn't split up. Yeah. And that was, I will talk about it a little bit further, how disappointing I was with Guardians of the Galaxy in this comic. But I didn't feel that tension, like, there wasn't a really good fight. I feel like Captain America, Iron Man's team was slightly superior. Yeah. In my humble opinion, but I feel like in Captain America's Civil War 1 was slightly superior. Just because I think there was some sort of bias. But going back to what you were saying, I'm trying to stick the comparison. What did you love about Civil War 1 that you wish that Civil War 2 had? And what the Civil War 1 did not have, but it had a good Civil War 2? I know it's a difficult question. So what did one have that the other one did not have, and what did the other have that you wish the other one had?
Well, I think completely missing was the emotion in Civil War 2 compared to Civil War 1. I mean, that's such a powerful moment when Sue Storm leaves
Richard?
Yeah, Reed Richards or whatever. Yeah, that, and then like even the Punisher bringing in Spider-Man, or them hiring villains to do their dirty work on the opposite team. I just feel like that is empowering. It makes the story better. It was just emotional, and then of course Captain America dies in the end, which is huge.
That is true. That's a really good point. There wasn't so much tension in this one.
there is tension, but I feel like it was more... So for me, I felt like, okay, so the Civil War comic versus the Civil War movie. The Civil War movie felt like Civil War 2 to me, because there's not a lot of emotion in it, but they are all pissed off at each other, and the only way to stop that is they have to fight each other. But nobody dies, really. The only person that really gets messed up is Rhodes. So that's what I feel. But Civil War 2, what it had that
Civil War didn't have.
That Civil War didn't have. Oh man, that's a tough one. Well, Captain Marvel for sure. I think it was neat that they incorporated her way more in this one, and they incorporated Guardians in this one a little more.
So you say like the diversity was a little bit higher?
The diversity was a little higher. They didn't stick with the core people as much. I saw, there was more Black Panther. He had more of a decision making in this comic versus in Civil War 1, and he was kind of a deciding factor, because he's the king of what's that place? Wakanda, and he tells Captain Marvel, "Hey, Tony's right on this. You're fucking up. We thought you were right, but you're really messing this up. I'm gonna just step back." And I really thought that was cool that they threw him in there more.
So they use a little bit of politics better than
Civil
War. I would agree with Civil War 1 that I think the stakes were higher, or I felt higher. It's being a comic, it was felt higher. Civil War 2, what I liked a lot is I could see a little bit better the two parts.
Oh, it does convey a clearer message.
The two parts, and you can see more or less they both have. I wish they were stick a little bit longer with the idea that, I was hoping that they were showing a little bit more like Captain Marvel being, okay, Tony, let's try your way, and something bad happens, and Captain Marvel's like, see, we can't do this.
Yeah.
And showing that, we know it's not 100%, you can arrest for somebody, it's like, it's better than letting people die. That dilemma, can you arrest somebody for not doing something? And there's a possibility that could happen, but there's a possibility that it could happen. I wish they were portrayed that way, but if they did, it would be, for me, perfect. But in this case, I think the separation was much clearer, much more understandable than in Civil War 1. Even though in Civil War 1, and I think it's because I'm more Captain Iron Man in Civil War 1, I understand why. I just can't understand why everybody is against it. I understand that you don't want the government to tell you what to do, but at the same time, I wish they would have portrayed it a little bit better. Portrayed Iron Man makes sense. You can't have somebody who can, destroy a city walking around with no supervision.
Yeah.
Because it's like the same idea. It's like, imagine if I'm walking down and I have a nuclear bomb in my car and just driving along, and it's like, well, I built it myself.
Yeah.
I didn't tell the government. Like, no, you should more or less tell people what you can do. So
yeah.
So that's why for me, in this case, this is more 50-50. Because I can understand both parts, even though I think they had a harder time explaining that two parts in Civil War 2. But in Civil War 1, they explain it very well, but it makes no sense that Captain America will be fine with guy who had nuclear detonation powers walking around that city with no consequence whatsoever.
Yeah, I do. I would have thought that it would have been... for me, the confusing part of Civil War 1 is I feel like the roles should have been reversed, because I feel like Tony being just Tony, he would be the one that would be against being the Sokovia Accords.
I think they did it on purpose, and I think that's why they did it. That's why they did it. I think they did it on purpose just because of that. Just because if Captain America does it, it would be betraying it's Captain America. He always does the good thing. Blah 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 blah. And Iron Man is always the conflict. Here is Captain America saying yes, we should do this. And Captain America can be like, no, I'm trying to be in that moment of time, the patriotic, saying doesn't matter what life throws on you, you have to be a tree, you cannot move, and you say, no, you move, sort of thing. But overall, I liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was good. It did have some impactful deaths. Rhodey dying is pretty big. Bruce Banner dying is huge. Which still kind of is confusing, though, because I'm like, what arrow could you create that would kill Bruce Banner?
Bruce Banner created it.
I know, but how could he? It just doesn't make sense. That part had a lot of.
That's the bad things of the comics is because everybody has a loophole. Everything has like if one comic book artist or writer makes something like Wolverine, there's a comic where he comes back from one single silver cell back to normal. There's a humongous part of like, how does he revive? And is he invincible? Like, what happens if you cut, Wolverine in half, like vertically in half? Do you get two Wolverines growing, or you get one Wolverine growing? What would happen? So there's Bruce Banner. Hulk can be killed. We know that, and there's different ways to kill him. True that I think that an arrow killing Bruce Banner was a bit weird. I wasn't expecting it, but at the same time, I think it showed that Marvel's trying to change and kill and be different, because now we have a new Hulk. It's a new Hulk, a younger version of Hulk with a different character. So like the same way as Spider-Man, and now there's Chow Hulk, who is a genius kid who can regain. He still has conscience when he becomes Hulk. He doesn't become a savage beast.
Oh, okay.
But none of the Hulks are as strong as the original. And rage mode.
That's kind of like an Old Man Logan, because Bruce Banner's kids can turn into Hulk, and they actually know what they're.
In No Man Logan, Hulk's kids kill Logan's family.
Yeah, but they know that they're in Hulk mode.
Yeah.
But to them, it's it's not Bruce Banner where he just goes batshit crazy and kind of knows, but like these guys actually know. It's kind of like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in a sense.
Yeah, it really is. I wouldn't kill Hulk. I think if they kill Hulk for the same reason they kick Hulk out of the equation, because if Hulk is in the battle, it's one-sided.
Yep.
So it's easier to kill him or to send him to a different planet than to try to write him in the storyline.
That's what I also thought was more powerful, and you'll agree with this, in Civil War I, especially when Daredevil's going into the...
Oh, to the prison?
Yeah, the prison. Tony's putting his friends in a negative cell and basically into another universe, so they're not killing each other, but they're he's putting them in there, and they're all like, hey, thanks for turning your back on us. Just kind of like in the movie. I mean, Tony walks into the prison and they're like,
but then it was not as good as in the comics.
Oh no, it wasn't.
In the comics, Daredevil gives him a silver coin, and he basically symbolizing that he's Judas, that he's betrayed.
You're the death of me.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm always with Team Iron Man in that battle. It's not because it's not so much because of you have to release and show who your identity is. It's like in this world where anybody could be born and have destructive powers. You need to have them under check.
Yeah,
and you cannot have a private party doing that.
Accountability, man. You can't go around destroying a town and then not be accountable for what you done. What you did.
Yeah, even if it's a mistake. Maybe it's the first time you experience mutant powers and you kill a school because you burn it to a crisp.
Yeah,
or you burn a building under because you can't control your powers. Yes, you shouldn't be charged for manslaughter, but the hell, I'll be pretty pissed knowing so there's this kid that can burn a school in seconds and there's nothing, and you have done nothing.
I think that's in a sense kind of why in Batman vs Superman, Batman would have been along the side of Tony, is because you have this superior being coming in and destroying an entire metropolis, and he doesn't have any accountability for what he did. Yeah, he's like, oh, okay, well, I saved you people from all this. Bruce Banner, not Bruce, Bruce Wayne's like, hey, yeah, okay, I see your point, but you did kill thousands of people.
I think it was more or less Batman's point was if there's a small chance that he goes rogue, there's nothing we can do.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that doesn't happen. Sort of thing. And then he realizes that he's a good guy, and of course it's Batman and stuff like that. But for example, in Civil War and Batman vs Superman, I think they did a good job explaining both views, better than they did in Civil War. Because Civil War, it's like accountability. It's like I don't want to say like, you know, that the kid, they won't make a decision, but they can't just have them do willy nilly whenever they want.
Yeah.
They did destroy a fucking town, and it was Iron Man's fault, and I can see why Iron Man was pushing it, because he feels remorse because he created it. But
yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree.
What do you thought about the Guardians of the Galaxy, actually the comics? Because I know you're a big fan of the show, but I don't think you've read a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy comics.
I haven't. It was weird because Groot looks completely different. I mean, he's still a tree, but he looks different.
It is hard to portray. I have to say, in favor of comics and movies, you cannot replicate the aesthetic of the comics in the big screen, because it doesn't look natural.
Well, I mean, even like if you look at old Guardians of the Galaxy, well, even before they kind of created Guardians of the Galaxy, Drax was by himself, and Drax is just like this dude wearing purple armor and he's green, so he looks completely different. Like if you read Infinity War, he looks completely different.
Yeah, so I mean, for me the look is not aesthetic. It's the fact that the Guardians of the Galaxy just went with Captain Marvel, not listening whatsoever to the facts. They just supported her, and then being 100% with her.
I was disappointed in that because, you know, I am a huge fan of that movie, and I was like, I really feel like Peter Quill would have been against that because, I mean, for one, he is from Earth, and I feel like he would have just kind of sided with Tony just because it's the right thing.
I almost say it's not the right thing because it really is. It's a very delicate thing, because if you know that was going to happen and you knew it was going to happen, or you knew the possibility was going to happen and you didn't stop it, you would be pissed. But that's the point. That's Captain Marvel's point. Like, yes, we don't know it's 100% true, but what happens if it happens? What happens if we are not sure if that lady's going to sell nuclear bombs to, I don't know, I said Russia, or in this case a terrorist group or Hydra, and you let her go, and then she sells the nuclear, things to Hydra.
Yeah.
So you're like, what the fuck? You know, that's you knew about it, and you could save all these millions of people, but you didn't do it because the possibility of you not doing it. That's the mentality. And Captain America, Iron Man was the opposite. It's like, you need to have proof, and without proof, you know, it's one of those things. Like,
even with them all feeling the visions, because as the comic progresses, the Inhumans' powers progress, and he's able to project his images onto the other, Captain Marvel, Iron Man. Everyone sees them and feels what he's feeling, but even then, it's still not proof. Mm-hmm. It's just a vision.
Mm-hmm. I like Iron Man's point of view, and I think justice-wise, Iron Man says the right thing to do. Just because to serve justice, you need to have proof.
Mm-hmm.
But being a human being, I think I would have sided with Captain Marvel. Just because the idea of me knowing something and not stopping it would hurt my conscience too much. So I would imagine you would see like Spider-Man in the comics, Spider-Man killing Captain America, seeing that and be like, well, we don't know, he's a good guy, we need to trust him, and then he kills him. I would have been like, we should have stopped him. We should have put him in Excel for a month, make sure that wouldn't happen, and let him go. But we didn't, and this happened. That's the point that it's, for me, that's so good about the story. It's, what if he did it? Because when you're reading it, you don't know. Like, I'm signing with Iron Man, but you're not sure. And what would have happened if it would have been true? What would have happened if that Spider-Man was a clone or an imposter and kills Captain America? What would Tony would have said? Oh, well, we didn't know, blah blah. So that's for me. I liked it.
I still feel, though, for me, that I would have still been on Tony's side, just because you can't imprison someone based off of.
That's what I mean. The justice would have been with Captain America. Captain America would have been with Iron Man. But my question is, what would have happened if you knew there was a guy who had the potential of blowing up a school?
Just keep an eye on him.
But what happens if the Hulk? Who's going to stop the Hulk? What happens if the Hulk goes rampage and destroys a city? You can't stop him.
Yeah.
What would you do then? You can arrest them because you have no proof.
Yeah.
You have you have the proof of the vision, but you know that it's a little bit over 50. It's high in probability, but at the same time, there's a chance. Like you don't know, and you're gonna have the.
I would probably just still take the chance, because.
I think it's because it's a comic, but if it was reality,
it's the same thing as if someone.
That's my problem. I try to portray it in a reliably. What would have told you? What would happen if it happens day to day? What happens in the Cold War? There was a possibility of Russia blowing up the United States, and the United States blowing up Russia, and the only reason they didn't blow up each other is
because Kennedy and the Russian guy came to an agreement.
But that or because it was mutual destruction, not only for from the two countries, but for the world. But if not, it would have been a shit show. But that's the point. That's exactly a good conversation.
Well, I mean, I guess in a sense, if you were to say, if you had this foresight and you were able to say, okay, so I know 9/11 was going to happen, and you saved, all the people that didn't go to Iraq. You saved all the people that died in the towers and on the airplanes.
For the possibility of it not happening, because if you stop it, you don't know if it will or will not happen. So you will never be confirmed.
Correct. I guess
it's so hard to pick, because if you can stop...
I just feel like in this scenario, a lot of it, the reason why I feel the way I do is just I think a lot of it's just like thinking in terms of Doctor Who, is because if a point in time is significant things are supposed to happen, and if you mess with that, something else is going to happen that could be worse. So if you take that point out, something else could happen, and that could be more catastrophic, and more people could die because you didn't do that.
But I mean, that's then you get to the point if you change that, and what can you not see the next one? And why can you not see the next one? And you cannot see the next one, and you cannot see the next one. So I get the point, but imagine...
How reliable is the vision? Because how many times...
But imagine you go back in time, and you have the possibility to stop Hitler. But people...
Things are supposed to happen whether it happen. If you change one thing in history, it could be catastrophic for our timeline. So if you think about it, if you were to go back in time now...
But what will you do? Will you doom all those people? You're there, you're in that moment there. You see those people. You know that half of those people that you're seeing right now are gone forever. And you are not gonna let them die because
it's one of those.
But you're saying, you cannot guarantee me that these people are gonna survive. You can guarantee me that there's gonna be something bad happening in the future. Maybe you stop Hitler and everything goes dandy.
True,
you don't know that.
But you stop one person, and then I'm also watching the show called Timeless.
Yeah, but all those shows have that thing that you can't change the past, because if you change the past, there can be hundreds of thousands of different outcomes, and it could be really.
Well,
really
no.
bad.
This is why I'm thinking is the main actress in the show, which is it's really kind of powerful. She goes back in time for one of their first job. Well, she comes back and she's married. Her mom doesn't have cancer anymore, but her sister never was alive, and her sister's her best friend, closest person. So she comes back and she's like, Mom, why are you this way? And then she's like, oh, haha, I never had cancer. But she had never had cancer because she never met that father that they had the sister with. So, and this father... So,
yeah, that's the whole entire point. But my point is...
It's just insane.
You cannot know the difference.
You can't.
You can't know what's going to happen.
And
there's the thing, are you going to save these people not knowing what's going to happen in the future? Because that would be Captain Marvel. Or you're gonna see how it happens and see the outcome. And that's basically Iron Man. I feel like that's the comparison. Yeah, I think it's a hard thing, and that's why this book made sense. A little bit better than the first one, just because we could argue, and we can both see the side. I can see like, yes, you're. I'm saying justice is with you. Justice is he hasn't committed the crime. You cannot arrest him. But are you gonna let it kill and distort the timeline in comic book sense, or are you gonna let it go?
Yeah.
So, and what would you get the book? What do you think about the book overall? You give it like 5 beers, 4 beers, 3 beers?
I would say I'd give both of them a 4. I mean, they were both really good, but they both had their parts that needed to be fixed. But they were I mean, I wouldn't give it it was definitely above average or normal comic because it's like all of your favorite characters fighting each other. So how does, since this is a good transition, how does this compare to Injustice? I don't know a lot about that.
So Injustice came from a video game, point number 1, and it's a DC, and it's, heroes versus heroes, villains versus, heroes, villains, all versus each other. And then it got very popular, and they spun the comic. Basically, it's similar to the idea of Civil War, but Marvel, but it's not the original timeline. It's an alternative timeline, and it basically based that the Joker, basically with fear gas and Joker gas, and the fear gas and kryptonite makes a bomb, and puts inside of Lois Lane detonator. So if she leaves the atmosphere or so many distance from Metropolis, a nuclear bomb will blow up in Metropolis. So when the Joker goes into the submarine, the fear gas with the kryptonite gets in his system, and he thinks that Lois Lane, with her baby inside and the detonator, is Doomsday. So he grabs her and takes her out to the atmosphere and basically starts pounding her. And then when the sun hits him and he starts getting his strength back, he realizes that he's killed Lois Lane with his unborn baby and blew up Metropolis.
Oh, wow.
And the Joker did it because he knew he would snap. Then Superman flies down to Gotham, gets the Joker, and Batman's like, don't do anything stupid, and he just punches him through his chest and kills him. And Batman's like, what the fuck have you done? We don't kill. And basically he's like, no, I'm done. I'm done with humans. We put them in, they come out, they kill each other. They're a fucking plague. I'm gonna make it fucking good now. All wars are done. You're gonna follow my rules. And basically, Wonder Woman, Flash, basically the majority of hard hitter Justice League members go with Superman, saying yes, humans cannot rule themselves. It's chaos. It's very aggressive. And Batman says like, no, you don't have the right to do that. So Batman, Green Arrow, the Black Canary, Harley Quinn, and a few little people go with him, and they run away because Batman basically starts fighting with Superman, and Superman is like, no, you're done. So basically Superman tells the world that Batman is Bruce Wayne. So they both start fighting. So it's basically the team is divided, and they basically make a super serum where you can become temporarily as strong as Superman. A good scene in that book is Alfred beating the shit out of Superman.
Oh wow!
He beats the shit of him, and Superman breaks Batman's back. But
Bane did that too.
Yeah, but he gets the super serum, basically. So they basically are fighting. And Superman basically starts killing people left and right. If you're not with him, you're dead. And Flash starts getting fucking, like, he's not sure about it because...
So he's kind of like Spider-Man in Civil War 1.
Sort of. He doesn't betray Superman until the very end. Mm. But he's having conflicts. He's realizing there's something wrong. Hal Jordan becomes a Yellow Lantern. So he's a Green Lantern, becomes yellow under Sinestro. They killed another Green Lantern. So basically, the entire thing is, it's not as good as Civil War. There's two basic. Oh, I can see his point, and I can see his point. No, here Superman becomes a tyrant, and it's his way or death. Wonder Woman, who's in love with Superman, follows through, and Batman says, "Fuck no." So basically, a lot of people died, and like Green Arrow dies. Superman kills him because he shoots an arrow, and then Superman laser beams, I think, him or does something, and he jumps away, and Superman kills his dad.
Oh, okay.
So he gets even more pissed and kills him, and then his mom says like, "Don't recognize you," and Superman says, "Take her away." He can't kill his mom, but he's like, "Take her away," and so there's all that influence. By the end of the book, Batman opens like a multiverse machine and gets Superman from a different universe, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, all the Justice League, and brings them over and says, "This is what happened." And in that universe, Batman stops the Joker before everything that happens, so he never had to become evil.
Okay.
So he's like, "This is what happened," and Superman, not having that grief, comes in and realizes that, "Oh my God, that's wrong." So they both fight, and basically the new Justice League, the good Justice League, defeats him and imprisons Batman and Superman. Now the Injustice 2 video game is gonna show up with a new timeline. I'm not sure how it's gonna go. Once I get my hands on it, I'll know. But it's a really, really fun comic because it's what you always wanted to see: Superman going batshit crazy. Like killing left and right, Batman having superpowers, super strength. It's all fun. The difference is there's not two story where you can say like in the beginning you can see Superman's point, but he slowly but surely becomes more and more tyrant, and his appearance changes to more. His suit becomes more a more tyrant suit. He has a yellow lantern ring.
Oh wow!
So it goes from one of the I can't remember his name, the Green Lantern's one, but one of his deaths is awesome. So see, this guy is Guy Jordan? Guy Jordan? No, that's Hal Jordan, but the guy something. He's coming back home with his Green Lantern. He's a human. He's coming back, and Sinister stops him, and basically with a fleet of fucking yellow ring people, and they grab him and pull him from each arm and rip him apart. Like limb to limb, they rip him.
Oh,
and
wow.
When they rip him, his ring is out. So he's a human in the middle of space and just dies.
Holy shit, I'll have to read that. That sounds pretty good.
One of the Wonder Woman has this boyfriend, who I don't remember his name is, the guy who's going to be in the movie. Mm-hmm. He basically kills him by snapping his neck with her...
Like a lasso?
That lasso, he's just like, clock.
Oh, wow.
So it's very gruesome, it's rated mature, but...
Does the video game have all that stuff in it?
It has a storyline. It doesn't have
is it cinematics or is the comics better?
The comics. Oh. The game is it's a good game. If you like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, it's a great game, and you get the storyline, but you don't get the. I feel like comics is better, but
it's more in depth.
Yeah,
it's just like the comic is better for Walking Dead.
I know you can find it online, and you can find it online. And it's a fun read. I suggest it. I like it. It's one of the few DC alternative storylines that I like. I like the main storylines of DC, and I'm also a fan of the different universes as much as I am with Marvel. Mm-hmm. But this alternative universe was kick-ass.
Yeah, I'll have to read that. I'm reading Infinity Gauntlet, which came out in the early 90s, which is what... For those who don't know, the movie Infinity War that's coming out is not based off Infinity War, it's based off the comic Infinity Gauntlet. Infinity War is a completely different story. It takes place after the Infinity Gauntlet War, basically.
Mm-hmm. So, and it's about Thanos having the gauntlet and trying to seduce death.
So, I think we're pretty much past this, so I mean, we should talk about the big Daily Bugle news this week.
I haven't got any. Have you?
Yeah, the big news that was on Friday.
What was it?
The fact that Guardians of the Galaxy, Spider-Man are confirmed for Infinity War, which is amazing. If anybody hasn't went online and seen that video of them together, that's a great video.
I saw there's a part with Peter Parker. I don't know his actor's name, but I talked to you and it was like he has a black suit underneath. I'm crossing my fingers, hoping it's the black suit. But you made a good point saying it looks like a...
It's probably motion capture.
Motion capture. It does look like a motion capture once you mention it. But
he gets it in space. Spider-Man gets it in space, and wouldn't it be awesome that at the end of the Infinity Wars 1, he touches it and he's like, and he gets the Spider-Man suit, the black suit, the symbiote, a good way to get Venom into the mainstream.
I really want Venom. Venom is amazing.
The only thing that is there a movie between Spider-Man: Homecoming and Infinity Wars? Because I don't think that we'll use Venom in the second.
Well, there's with Spider-Man, no, because there's
Homecoming, Infinity.
No, it's Guardians, Homecoming, Thor.
Well, wait up. I'm saying Spider-Man. There's no another Spider-Man movie in between Spider-Man and
unless he shows up in Black Panther. No.
Because I don't think they will.
He wasn't in the roster for Black Panther, so no.
Unless they don't show Spider-Man, I don't think so, because I don't think they're gonna use Venom as a second villain. Or they have the Spider-Man. He gets the suit, he uses it, sees that it's bad, takes it off, it goes away, and he uses Spider-Man, defeats whoever Spider-Man 2 villain is, and then the third one it reappears as Venom, and the third one could be. That could be a good timeline. It makes more or less sense. He has it, he doesn't like it, he's becoming an asshole, he realizes it. They can more or less use the Spider-Man no more when Spider-Man doesn't want to be Spider-Man anymore. But he takes his Spider-Man is no more, is taking the Venom suit off and defeating the villain the right way, not the evil way. And then the Spider-Man goes to Brock, because Brock would be Peter Parker's bully in high school. It wouldn't make sense. Could make sense. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I'm just excited. Well, I'm pretty sure with Comic-Con coming this summer, I think they're going to announce everyone that's going to be in the movie, like have the whole cast come out for Comic-Con. But this was a nice gesture to just be like, oh, okay, let's give the fans a taste of what they want, know? Instead of making them wait. I think it was awesome that they're just like, okay, the Guardians are in here. I cannot wait to see Tony and Peter Quill communicate with each other and see how that's going to be awesome. Or see how Captain America and Peter Quill talk to each other. See how they react about a fucking tree that talks. That's just, I'm so excited for that movie.
Yeah, and the Entertainment Weekly showed a couple pictures of the Stranger Things.
Yep.
And there's a lot of little things. We saw the new Walking Dead episode 1 come out. We're going to talk about the first 2 episodes and the John Wick and the movie Split.
Yeah, we'll talk about all that next week.
And so, see you guys next week. And if you want to follow us at twoordinarynerds@gmail.com, and Twitter, Facebook, and shortly YouTube.
One day YouTube.
Shortly.
Also follow us on iTunes and Google Play.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.